anticipating would be the elevation, the reservoir to go from 376 up to 379.6, which is not full capacity. Full capacity is 385.
Okay. Sean, do you think that'll be high enough to cover bring the docks over the dock?
Yeah, we're hoping so. It's,
Why aren't they filling it at capacity?
I haven't been given much information. I actually just got the call from Nurse Supply last week. It was a real quick call. I didn't really have time to ask those good questions. Yeah, I think it varies. I mean, that's kind of their. Yep, that's what the regulation says. If you happen to encounter any of these fish while you're out there fishing, you're meant not to release it back in the wild. You're meant to, to destroy it and either bring it to us for identification or take photographs of it. If it's a really good photograph, you can email it directly to me. I can usually do it a positive ID through the photograph. But if that's not the case, if poor quality camera don't have a camera, throw the fish. What's that? Big-headed carp. Yeah, big-headed carp. That's they were actually caught in the Raritan River a few years ago. One we had it mounted. I think I brought the meeting last year. I may not have been shown.
So, how come piranhas aren't on there? You've had them in Delaware a couple times.
Yeah, the piranhas and pacus, they're really not much of a concern because they can't tolerate the cold winters. I wrote an article in this year's digest about invasive fish and plants. There's some information in the digest about that. But this is the one cove up there at Lake Musconetcong. This was a removal effort. This plant does really well in shallow lakes, like Lake Musconetcong, like Amwell, places not that they're in Amwell, places where they are actually. They're down in Baldwin Lake, down in Pennington, a couple other places. New sightings are we've been working on with the help of primarily Mike Blanchuk, John Korn, the Health Admiral, and Paul Silva, where Mike was gracious enough to sacrifice a few Lakers, Browns, and Rainbows over the past several years for us at different sizes throughout the year, so we can take a look at what's in their stomachs. We're kind of using this as a measure of the herring population, among other things. I don't expect you to digest this really. I'm not going to go into any of the numbers. You can see Mike was collecting fish 2006, 7, 9, and 10. And then if you just look down the first column as Lakers, then Rainbows, Browns, and then the total. Out of 158 Lakers that Mike collected for us, only 8 of them had any fish, identifiable fish parts in their stomachs, which is a very low percentage. Horrible. Rainbows, 6 out of 83, that's only 7%. The Browns, kind of as expected, had a higher percentage of fish in their stomachs. It was up to 24%, but it was only 37 fish, so that is a small sample size. The one kind of interesting thing is one of the rainbows he brought me, it was an 18-inch rainbow that had 17 alewives in its stomach. This was just after a stocking event. Okay. Conclusion, this is just another piece of information saying there's no herring. Not a substantial amount. Any questions about this real quick before I move on? Using a gill net, which is strung across the bottom of the reservoir. We put it right up against the 2 dams, the north and the south dam, during the spawning period, and then there's other 2 off of the North Point, and then down at the White House end. They're in 80 to 100 feet of water for the general, cross section of the smaller fish. We were out there this year, October 26th and 27th, for the experimental gill nets for the smaller fish, and November 9th and 10th for the bigger fish. And before I go any further, I want to mention that it's often difficult to know exactly when those fish are up there, on the dams to spawn. We had an indication that we were out there a little bit early this year. Other years I had the flexibility to, go out a week or two later again and get a. And that was one of the days where we were over off of the South Dam. The three of the seasons, you're graced with the presence of one of these guys today. Tom, up at the left-hand side of the picture. You have fun, Tom?
Yes, sir.
You never called me sir when you were working.
Among other things.
Yeah. This was actually the second largest male that we got. It was almost 17 pounds and nearly 35 inches. I didn't get a picture of the largest male that we got, which was almost 18 and a half pounds. But if you want to see that fish, you can. Have any of you seen the video? It was posted on our website and also the Star Ledger. Anybody see that video? Just so show of hands, I'm curious. Yeah, we did it. Yeah, that's what you always did. I did see it. A pretty nice documentary, just 3 minutes long. You might want to check it out. But yeah, we are handling that largest male in that video. You can go on to just nj.com and type in over 19 pounds and almost 37 inches. If you look closely, you'll see a third hand in the picture. That's my hand plugging up the female's cloaca because she was as ripe could be, and she was spewing out eggs like crazy. So, we talk about getting the Laker population in control, but this is a large female that made it to this size and age. We want her genes in the gene pool. We want her to reproduce. We want to, if we're going to have the Lakers, we want them trophy proportions. This was another surprise. Nearly a 14-pound channel cat, over 33 inches. There's another view of it, just so you can see its head is the size of Tom's. Pretty big fish. So, and that's not atypical. You guys catch them, we get them in the nets occasionally, but that's a nice fish. Just to give you an idea of total number of lake trout per year, I just went back starting from 93 on, and you can see, in recent years we're getting more and more lake trout. The problem is, I think, from a fisherman's perspective, is during these years, 95, 98, 99, the bulk of those, I could go on for hours up here, and I usually do, so I was trying to keep it toned down a little bit, but it's really neat to see. I have these graphs going back all the way to 93, and I can go bing, 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 and go through them, and you watch the waves shift, and you watch everything change. Back in 96, 97, 2007, 8, 6, 7, and 8. You saw a flat line, but it was lower. That flat line, instead of it being, let's just say 17 to 21, the flat line was like 16 to 19. So, I believe that this is, supportive evidence that the current lake trout regulation had one of the desirable effects that we wanted. It did increase the average size of the lake trout. And I'll show you some more numbers on that in a moment. This here is another really interesting graph that shows the age of lake trout in years across the bottom axis and how long the fish is with the reg change. To try to encourage those fish to go from that 15 to 20 to allow them to move up into the 20 to 24. So the Laker regs from 2001 through 2007, where as you see there, one fish at 20 inches. Starting in 2008 till today, we have the more complicated reg with the slot limit. So I mentioned it, we feel like the reg has had some positive impacts, but like back a couple of slides, we're really trying to make an effort to liberalize the harvest. And we know, just by looking at that, it's saying you can keep 6 fish from 15 to 24, there's no longer a slot, and you can still keep one trophy fish over 24 inches. One thing it does, it does kind of simplify the regs. You could keep 7 fish. Now, most of you are sitting there going, who's going to keep 7 lake trout? Nobody keeps 7 lake trout. And so, but one of the things that this allows you to do, that if you're one of the guys that want to keep those lake trout, which, you know, Fish and Wildlife, we're actually encouraging you to keep lake trout from 15, currently from 15 to 20. The data was collected over 5 years from 2004 to 2008. They wrote up a final report. It was sent to me. I reviewed it, had some comments, we had some dialogue back and forth. I asked them to, you know, address a couple more issues. They did, and I'll talk about them here. You know, overall, you know, some of the information, you know, it's an oligotrophic lake. It's clear, it's cold, it's deep. We all know that. Some of the one question that was really interesting that came up an awful lot was the effect of pumping. There was a pumping event to refill Round Valley in 2003, which was before the data was collected. But then there's a nice key moment there in 2006, right smack in the middle of the study, where there's that pumping event so we can see what happens. And I put the quotation marks in there in Norman's report, and they said that, you know, this 2006 pumping event had little change that might be expected to enhance biological productivity in Round Valley Limited. There was a slight increase in some of the water quality parameters as that little bit, looking at the plankton, looking at the nutrients from 97 to 03. These are just a couple measures as I put some information together. The average density of phytoplankton, that's how many individuals per milliliter, at the surface in Merrill Creek, the average over those years was 1,300. The average in Round Valley was only 800. So, yeah, that's quite a bit less phytoplankton at the surface in Round Valley. Similar numbers, you know, similar ratio when you look at the amount of phytoplankton on the bottom, towards the bottom of the reservoir. So, yeah, in general, you can almost say that there's half as much phytoplankton in Round Valley as there is in Merrill Creek. Looking at the zooplankton, it's even more dramatic. It's how many cells per cubic meter. So it's pretty much a 3 foot by 3 foot box full of water. In Merrill Creek, there's 75,000 zooplankton on average over those years, and around Valley there's only 10,000. So that's a pretty drastic difference in the amount of plankton levels. You know, we collectively, you know, over more than a 3-year period, but we're stocking herring there for a while, but over that 3-year period where we put in, in excess often of 100,000, it didn't have an impact. I read some studies where, they'd introduced 10,000 herring into a lake, go back and do a population estimate the next year, and there was millions. So if it works, if introducing herring was going to work to establish a population, I would have expected it to happen. And it didn't happen, so I really don't have any confidence anymore that the reproducing owlet population is in the future. I really don't see that. Just a bit about alewives, some interesting things. When you look through the literature, even if you Google alewives, one that I talked about last year at our meeting was a slimy sculpin. That's a photograph I took of one right there. That appeared in our Fish and Wildlife Digest last year, I think it was the year before. Slimy sculpin, 3 to 5 inches. Not only, they're native to New Jersey. We have them in some of our high-quality streams. They love these little, fast, clear, cold streams, where you might find brook trout. They also inhabit really Generally, you'll find them 7 to 10 inches. In large lakes or the oceans, they're actually, they can be anadromous. They can be up to 13 inches. They inhabit, not only the ocean, but cool, clear lakes and great depths. So if they're in the ocean, they can go in your estuary. They can go up these trips to spawn, just like a salmon or a shad. Or you can have a landlocked population as well. And it's similar to elves. They do the same thing. They spawn from March. Took this picture a couple of years ago. They're a much deeper body minnow or shiner. They get pretty big. They can get 8 to 12 inches. They're when you go to a tackle shop and they sell you shiners, 9 out of 10 times it's a golden shiner. They're the most popular bait fish across the country. And now one of the things that makes them not so great, that makes me a little apprehensive about putting them in Round Valley, as far as establishing a reproducing population, is that they spawn in vegetation. Now, the past couple of years, we've seen more weed beds and whatnot around Valley. And here's a little scorecard I put together. I think I showed this to you last year. The pros of Round Valley, there's lots of legal brown trout and rainbows, 15 to 20 inches. I don't think there's another place in the state that can compete with Round Valley for the amount of, 15 to 20 inch browns and rainbows. So I think that's a real good quality. And even for, the shoreline fishermen, where else can you go and sit on the shore and fish trout like that? In addition to that, the stocking of the brood stock, both, from RVTA and the division, that's a real positive. It's sparked a lot of interest. There's tremendous angler success for lake trout less than 20 inches. I mean, talking to some of the more accomplished, laker fishermen, that can go out and, expect to catch 20 fish or more. On the other end, I think year after year, we show you pictures, and then there's, the big fish caught, the one John Corn caught that, made a couple different magazines and whatnot. Supports lakers in excess of 30 pounds. That's, it's an amazing thing. There's a couple more pictures I brought in the background there. Where else can you go and catch fish like that? Nowhere else in this state, that's for sure. Huge largemouth and smallmouth. I didn't put the pictures in this year, but we routinely get 4, 5, 6, 6.5 pound trout just incidentally in some of our surveys. Tom, you remember going out there to test the electrofishing boat this year?
Yeah, monster log size bass.
We went out middle of the day, obviously crystal clear water. Bass are typically no.
Doing what's right by stocking our big fish. We're increasing in past years we always found that, I think it's becoming more of a foot and take. You think that we're going on the right path?
I believe so. I mean, if for nothing else, it's sparked an awful lot of interest. Guys are able to go out there, to sponsor a trout program with the new program that's going on there with the prizes and whatnot, quality fish that we're putting in there. I think the strategy is, both the club and the state, we've altered our strategy over the years, because years ago it was a lot more productive. We could expect our, the stock was 10.5 inch production fish. We could expect them to grow. I mean, they're the ones that grew into the state record in brown trout. It was amazing. But with those days being gone, I think that's just a reality we kind of have to face. That now I see nothing wrong. I see all the positive with that. Kind of put a large fish program. I think that's a positive.